Hello, I'm Nikki Schiller. Welcome to this BBC News Oscars special. It was Oppenheimer's night in Los Angeles. It scooped 7 awards, including the top one for Best Picture and also Best Director and Best Actor for Cillian Murphy. Best Actress went to Emma Stone. Now, over the next half an hour, we will look at who won what. We will also look at some of those viral moments and, of course, the celebrity red carpet fashion. Joining me to do that is the film critic Helen O'Hara, and with me in the studio is our culture reporter Noor Nanji and celebrity fashion stylist Ellis Ranson. But first, here's the best bits of the ceremony in all about 60 seconds.
Welcome to the 96th Oscars, everybody. Where is he? Messi.
I'm just kidding. Anywhere else I'd be.
I can't open the envelope.
Christopher Nolan Oppenheimer.
Robert Downey Jr.
I'd like to thank my terrible childhood and the Academy, in that order.
I thank you for seeing me.
Cillian Murphy.
I'm a very proud Irishman standing here tonight, so...
And the Oscar goes to Emma Stone.
Dress is broken. I think it happened during I'm Just Ken.
And Maria, I see Oppenheimer.
I think any of us who make movies know that you kind of dream of this moment.
So, Ryan Gosling, some nudity and a dog. Maybe that sums it up. No, there is more to it than that. Let us go to Los Angeles and CBS News correspondent Danya Bacchus. Thank you very much for joining us, Danya. So, as widely predicted, it really was Oppenheimer's night, wasn't it?
It definitely was Oppenheimer's night. As expected, you know, Oppenheimer was expected to continue its award season winning streak, and it did just that. It went into the Oscars night with 13 nominations. It came out with 7 wins, including the top awards of the night for Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor for Cillian Murphy, and Best Supporting Actor for Robert Downey Jr.
So were there any surprises? I think a lot of people over here, Emma Stone beating Lily Gladstone. Was that the big one, do we think?
You know, I would say that was maybe a small surprise, but not a big surprise. That's because during award season here, awards like the Golden Globes and SAG Awards, which are usually predictors for the Oscars, they went back and forth in winning that category. So some critics here in the United States were expecting that could be a toss-up, that it could go either way, and Emma Stone was the one who ended up beating out Lily Gladstone for her portrayal in Poor Things.
So let us talk about Jimmy Kimmel, who was hosting again this year, second year in a row. How did he go down? And also, I saw that he hit back at Donald Trump during it for a post that he'd made.
You know, he did hit back at Donald Trump, which is not surprising. Jimmy Kimmel, if you ever watch his late night show, he always has some jabs for the former president. And yes, during the show, he actually called out the former president for a post that he put on Truth Social that read in part, "Has there ever been a worse host than Jimmy Kimmel at the Oscars?" To which Kimmel replied, among other things, "Isn't it past your jail time?" So that was just one jab of the night. Of course, Jimmy Kimmel has experience hosting the Oscars. He's done this multiple times before and has also been the host during some very memorable moments during the Oscars. So he's pretty much prepared for just about anything. He did what he normally does. He poked fun at the movies. He poked fun at the actors. And then he had a skit with John Cena that I think everyone's talking about today. And that was when John Cena came out on stage practically nude to present the Best Costume Award, and that skit made light of an Oscars moment that happened 50 years ago when a streaker ran on stage.
And finally, I assume the parties are still going on in Los Angeles.
Oh, you know, they are definitely still going on in Los Angeles. There are the after parties, then the after parties, and a lot of those parties carry on into the early morning here in Los Angeles. Right now, it's about 2:30 in the morning, and I could expect that those parties will continue until the sun rises.
Okay, Dania,
Nikki?
thank you very much for joining us from Los Angeles. That's CBS News correspondent Dania Bacchus. So let us talk about the big winner, Oppenheimer. Helen O'Hara is our film critic. Helen, was it a surprise that it won? Not really.
No, not really. I mean, it was a very predictable Oscars this year, but Oppenheimer has pretty much swept all before it during awards season. You know, if Barbie had it all its own way at the box office, I think Oppenheimer has had it all its own way, you know, when it came to awards. So yeah, it went in as the favorite. It went in as the most nominated film. It came out as the most awarded film. And that kind of makes sense, you know, in Oscar history, as well as being a very good film. It is also exactly the kind of thing that the Oscars like to award. It's serious. It's a biopic. You know, it's made by a great director. It has a great cast. These are all things that kind of give you a leg up at the Oscars.
Yeah, absolutely. If you haven't seen it, here is a little clip of Oppenheimer featuring Cillian Murphy. Take a look at this.
What do you take it to mean?
Neutrons smash into nucleus, releasing neutrons to smash into other nuclei. Criticality, a point of no return, massive explosive force. But this time, the chain reaction doesn't stop.
It would ignite the atmosphere.
When we detonate an atomic device, we might start a chain reaction that destroys the world.
So, Noor, Cillian Murphy won Best Actor. His speech was quite emotional in a way.
Yeah, it definitely was. He said that he was standing there as a very proud Irishman. He thanks the cast and the crew for taking him through this journey. And his concluding remarks were also really interesting. He said, for better or for worse, we are all living in Oppenheimer's world. So he wanted to dedicate the award to all the peacemakers out there.
Yeah, very interesting. And afterwards, he spoke to the journalists. All of the winners have to speak to the journalists. And this is what Cillian Murphy said after.
It's a little bit of I'm a little bit of a daze. You know, I'm very overwhelmed. I'm very humbled. I'm very grateful, and you know, very proud to be Irish. This has been a huge moment for me. The movie is so special to me, and you know, myself and Chris have such a special relationship. I just feel very privileged to be continue to work with him, and I'm very proud that you know that. This is a film that is provocative and that asks questions and is challenging, but yet, you know, so many people want to see it. So I'm really proud of that.
Helen, this is quite a moment for Cillian Murphy, isn't it?
Oh, it's fantastic. I think, you know, we here in the UK have been fans of his for a very long time, especially Peaky Blinders brought him to a wide audience, but right back to things like, you know, Disco Pigs, his very first film, or 28 Days Later when he kind of broke through. And he has been working with Christopher Nolan, obviously, for a long time in sort of supporting roles. But to see him step up to the lead role of a film of this scale, to smash it out of the park the way that he did with that performance, I think is just fantastic. I think the whole of Ireland is very proud of him this morning.
Absolutely. And let's talk about Christopher Nolan, because he's got a body of work behind him, but this is his first Oscar.
Yeah, I think so many of his films were, you know, science fiction or superhero movies, and the Oscars tend to overlook genre films. They just do. So it's telling, isn't it, that out of all the films that he's made, the only one he was previously nominated for was Dunkirk, another war movie, and now he gets the win with Oppenheimer. But I think this is partly testament to the reputation he's built up with all of those films along the way.
And also, he spoke to the journalists afterwards. Here's what he had to say.
It means I can do curls. They're very heavy. It's such a thrill. I mean, to be recognized as a director by my peers, the nomination itself from the directing branch of the Academy, that's very special to me, as was winning the Directors Guild Awards. For the film to win Best Picture is just a testament to so many different people who were involved in the film, our incredible cast and our incredible crew.
So it was definitely Oppenheimer's night, but the one that we were talking about with Dania in Los Angeles, Helen, is Emma Stone winning Best Actress.
Yes, I thought there was a scenario where Lily Gladstone would take that, just because there was so much excitement over the first Native American person to be nominated for that award, that I thought that might carry over into a win. But Emma Stone's performance in Poor Things is astonishing. I mean, she basically plays a character who goes from, you know, having the mind of a baby, the mind of a toddler, to being a fully grown, fully realized human being. And she does that in 2 hours. I mean, that's an astonishing technical achievement. And she's also just delightful as a person. I think she's very well liked liked, felt well loved in LA. So yeah, it was a surprise a little bit, but not what you'd call a shock.
And if you haven't seen the film, just give us a quick, brief synopsis of what it is, because it's quite weird.
It's very weird. Yeah, it's very weird. It is essentially, it's almost like a Frankenstein story. So she is a reborn, created human in this fully adult body when we meet her, who has to kind of go on an adventure and grow up. She's created by a kind of Frankensteinian figure played by Willem Dafoe. She has a relationship with Mark Ruffalo's character. It is very strange. It's deliberately heightened. It's almost fantastical, almost kind of Alice in Wonderland-like. But it's no surprise that it also won, production design, costume, and hair. It looks astonishing. It's kind of a deconstructed kind of Victorian era film.
Okay, let's take a quick look at a clip.
These two are fighting and ideas are banging around in Bella's head and heart like lights in a storm.
Oh. You're always reading now, Bella. You're losing some of your adorable way of speaking.
I'm a changeable feast, as are all of we. Apparently, according to Emerson, disagreed with by Harry.
Come, just come.
You were in my son.
What?
And Noor, it's safe to say, I think, that she was surprised that she'd won.
Yeah, I mean, there was total shock. The thing is, stars often act as if they're completely surprised when these things happen. But I think in Emma Stone's case, there was genuine disbelief because, as we were hearing there was this sort of dead heat going into it between her and Lily Gladstone. And in the end, it was Emma Stone who triumphed. She said that she was completely overwhelmed to win. But she also did a shout out to her fellow nominees, which I thought was really nice. And she singled out Lily Gladstone and said that, she was completely in awe of her, which I thought was a really nice tribute to her.
And Ellis, we saw in our little montage, she had a bit of a wardrobe malfunction as well.
Every stylist's worst nightmare. But I think we saw so much corseting, which looks great on the carpet, but maybe not sitting through the Oscars.
OK, well, of course, Emma spoke to the journalists afterwards, and here's what she had to say.
You seemed, more than I have ever seen on the Oscar stage, completely shocked.
Oh, boy. Well, I mean, I don't know if it was more than ever. Really?
Really?
Oh, God. I think I blacked out. Yes, I was very shocked. I still feel like I'm spinning a little bit. So, yes, it's a huge honor, and I'm very surprised.
And Helen, this is 2 Oscars, and she's only 35.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I will say, though, that most actress and supporting actress winners tend to be younger. Women don't get roles, really, between 40s and the 50s. So there have actually been relatively few winners in their 40s and 50s, where it's the opposite for men. Men don't tend to win Best Actor until they've turned 40.
Really fascinating point that I, of course, hadn't thought of. Talking of Best Supporting Actress, not really a surprise that it went to Da'Vine Joy Randolph.
Yeah, she has won everything, I think, this award season. I don't think there's been a single, award show that didn't give her Best Supporting Actress. And it is a really moving, eye-catching performance. She doesn't overplay it. She doesn't have big, huge kind of histrionic scenes, but she absolutely breaks your heart in that film, The Holdovers, which she won for, where she plays a bereaved mother, basically, who lost her son in Vietnam. It's really a really moving role and a great turn from her, great work from her.
Yeah, there's so many that we could mention, but there is one other award that I do want to mention, an historic. Ukraine won its first ever Oscar for the best documentary for 20 Days in Mariupol.
Yes, so this was basically the director embedded with the front lines for 20 days during the Battle for Mariupol, and a really moving and really sort of shocking speech in a way, because he said basically, I wish I weren't here, I wish I weren't getting this award, I would far rather that the invasion hadn't happened and the war hadn't happened. So yeah, really moving night, but it's an astonishing, really impactful and really kind of disturbing at times film.
Yeah, Noor, this is, and he even said it himself, he didn't want to win this Oscar.
Exactly. I mean, as we were just hearing there, he's sort of probably the first person to say that. And he acknowledged that, saying that, you know, probably no directors come onto the stage before to say that they wish they weren't standing here, wish they hadn't made this film. But obviously a very personal moment for him. He said that he wished he could exchange the award for Russia having never invaded Ukraine in the first place. But yeah, as you say, the first Ukrainian Oscar winner. So really a moment there.
Yeah, absolutely. OK, that's sort of wrapped up some of the films. Let's take a look at some of the other things that have been trending. And of course, fashion is one of them. Ellis is with us. Ellis, you've been combing through the red carpet. What took your attention? Margot Robbie and American Fiera, should we start there?
Yeah, I think we have to, because I was patiently waiting for a big moment because it was the end of the Barbie train, you know, but she went for black and apparently it was this Barbie's morning. Don't know.
Yeah, we can see the two. We can see the two pictures side by side. So describe. They're both Versace, yeah.
Both in Versace, which I absolutely love, and I love that America's gone for the pink. But we didn't expect. Yeah, we didn't expect Margot in black. But I do love the look, and maybe she is just at the end of her Barbie era.
Yes, indeed, maybe. So talking of Barbie, we can't mention Barbie without Ken. So Ryan Gosling.
Loved the pink suit. I feel like it was such a moment. Everything was pink. The suit, the shirt, the gloves, and it had diamond tears. But I also loved his suit for the red carpet as well. We saw a lot of double-breasted for men's.
Yeah, and he did amazingly singing as well, Nor, wasn't it? Ryan really stole the show in a lot of ways.
I think so. I mean, it was Oppenheimer's night in way for the awards, but Ryan Gosling stole the show when it came to his performance. We all knew this was coming, but it was still such a moment when it actually happened. You know, as you were hearing, he was in his pink tuxedo. He went on with a dozen Kens who were wearing cowboy hats, and he looked like he was absolutely loving the moment, as was the audience. So you had Margot Robbie singing along. You had Greta Gerwig as well, enjoying the moment. So it was a really... You know, I mean, I would say that on social media, people were pointing out the sort of irony of the fact that this Barbie was a sort of feminist movie, and at the same time, it was a man that sort of stole the show. But of course, the one award that Barbie did win was by Billie Eilish. So.
Yeah, we'll come on to that a little later. Helen, Ryan Gosling certainly put on a performance during the actual show.
Yeah. Oh, God, he did. I mean, look, I love that song. I love the idea of him performing at the Oscars. I would say also it's actually a deep cut to film history. He's wearing the same pink that Marilyn Monroe wore in Gentlemen Prefer Blondes for the Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend production. And so were his backing dancers. They're all dressed like the backing dancers in Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend. So it's so steeped in movie history. It's also so steeped in Ken Barbie silliness that it was fantastic to see. It's also worth noting that some of the other Kens were there alongside him. You know, Kingsley Ben-Adir, Simu Liu, Ncuti Gatwa were all just there to celebrate. It was fantastic.
Okay, back to the red carpet. Ariana Grande.
I do love it. Are they going through the whole method dressing now? Her and Cynthia in green, and obviously Ariana in her pink puffball. And I feel like her dress was probably the most dramatic of the night.
And also we can see Cynthia there as well. That's quite an outfit.
I love that because it's edgy, but still with a touch of feminine. So I love that look.
Okay, and I know a lot of people in the office have been talking about Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes, polka dots are huge for this season.
Are they?
And I feel like the dress code was really unexpected this year. It was quite chic and simple rather than the big, usually it's so dramatic, long trains. So I love that, and just really strapless and simple.
Okay, I think we can see a little picture. There she is. Yeah, the polka dots definitely seem to work on that red carpet one.
Saw a lot of these neck scarves as well, and a few people were sort of shushing them about, so that was quite fun.
Okay, so neck scarves are in, are they?
It seems that way.
Okay, let's go back to the men. Let's have a look at Bradley Cooper.
Okay, so we spoke about this before from the BAFTAs, and he's wearing a flare again. And like I said, the double-breasted, super simple, really chic. Love it.
Yeah, and Cillian Donnelly as well.
Okay, so again, another double-breasted, but I think we saw the bow tie in there and just a bit more fun and playful. I think it was Louis Vuitton, so that was a nice look.
Okay, so we do have to talk about Emma Stone as well.
Yes, love the dress. Again, we're seeing this peplum coming in really strongly. I think there was a lot about the waist. But yeah, the corset was maybe just a tad too tight.
I think we can see some more of Emma Stone's dress. If you didn't catch it, let's take a look at some of Emma on the red carpet. And she had a number of outfit changes as well.
I didn't notice.
Yeah,
her, did
afterwards as
she?
well, she definitely did.
Oh,
So
wow.
I
I need
think
to
she
check
went
those out.
afterwards. Because, of course, they've got to go to the parties as well. So do they have another look?
Yeah, I think the after party look can be a bit more fun and maybe a bit more revealing. I think Vanity Fair party looked amazing, some of the looks. And then you start seeing the likes of the Kardashians show up. But the trends do seem to follow through. We still saw all that structured detailing. I think Kim Kardashian was wearing a big structured neckline, like Eva Longoria with her structured shoulders. So I think the trends carry through, but maybe a bit more playful.
OK, so finally, let's have a look at Billie Eilish. What did you make of her outfit?
So unexpected again, very preppy. It was all Chanel, like really cool, almost a bit, I guess it was a bit more like what the men were wearing, all the double-breasted and the big shirt collars, but I think it worked.
OK, let's talk about Billie Eilish, Noor, because as you mentioned earlier, she was the only winner in terms of Barbie.
Yeah, so she scooped up that award for Best Original Song, which she accepted on stage with her brother Phineas. And she thanked the Academy. She said that she wasn't expecting this. She felt so lucky and honoured. And she performed the song as well, which got a standing ovation. She did incredibly well.
Yeah, so let's take, we can't show for rights reasons, I'll be honest, that actual moment on stage, but we do have a little bit of the actual music video. Take a look at this. So that's Billie Eilish. Helen, again, we mention youngsters and Oscars. She now has 2 Oscars at the age of 22. She does seem to have a talent for writing music to go with films.
She's doing really, really well. Yeah, no, it's a fantastic song. And I think it was, much as I love I'm Just Ken, it probably is the right choice in terms of songwriting. But, you know, it's more beautiful but less fun. What can I say? You know?
Yeah, she does seem to not have everything going for her at the moment, doesn't she?
No, absolutely. And, you know, she just seems so humbled as well. So I think it was such a moment when she came on to accept it. It was just really lovely.
Yeah, and of course having her brother with her as well all the way through it obviously helps as this stardom, and she's talked about that being in the limelight before, but the fact that she's got a brother with her going through it as well.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see that many sibling pop duos like that. So I think it was just really special that moment to have them up on stage together, as we've seen in the past before as well.
OK, so we have to talk about the viral moments as well, because social media now is a huge part of these Oscar ceremonies, and the Ken performance is one of the big ones. Let's take a quick look at Ryan Gosling in action.
I'm just Ken, anywhere else I've been told. Is it my destiny to live down a life of blood fragility? I'm just Ken, where I see love, she sees a friend. What will it take for her to see the man behind the tent and fight for me?
It was certainly, I think, for me, and looking at social media, this is what everyone is talking about.
Yeah, I think so. It's the Kenergy, isn't it? And everyone was just really loving it. There was a sing-along, you know, all the stars were getting involved, and he was just really throwing himself into it as well. And as I said before, you know, we all kind of knew it was coming, but I think when it actually happened, it almost seemed even better on the night.
Yeah, absolutely. There was a little, and I'm going to bring Ellis in here. Celebrities always, when they're on the red carpet, have to be careful how they walk, don't they, in their outfits?
Especially in platforms.
So let us take a look at a US TV host, Lisa Koshy, who had a little bit of a fall. If we can run those pictures, you'll see what I mean. Oh, we're getting those pictures. So she took a tumble, didn't she, on the red carpet?
She styled it out massively. And
so here she is, and as she's walking along, down she goes, but there she is. She really did style it out, didn't she?
She did, and I think those sleeves are so amazing that I was distracted. I wasn't worried about the fall.
Helen, have you ever been in a situation like that? Bit of a wardrobe malfunction, stroke fall?
Oh, I mean, look, I'm terrified every time I have to go out in public of anything like that. We've been touring with our podcast recently, and every time I walk on stage, I'm convinced that's going to happen. So fair play to all these people who are essentially doing it backwards and in heels and corsets. You know, I don't think I could manage 2 steps, really.
Exactly. And 2 very brief ones, Nor, nudity and a dog.
Oh, yeah, of course. So the best ones for last. So John Cena, the wrestler and the actor, came on stage to present the award for Best Costume Design, and he appeared on stage almost entirely naked, save for a pair of Birkenstocks and an envelope, which was strategically placed, should we say.
Indeed. And the dog?
And the dog from Anatomy of a Fall, which everyone was wondering, is Messi going to show up or not? And he did on the night.
Fabulous. And that is the Oscars for you.